Hello, I am Reverend Dr. Namchez. In this video, we will talk about HTML forms. What are HTML forms and what are the types of forms that we have in HTML? But before we continue with this video, if this is your first time of joining a HTML or a web design class, I would advise you to look for my first video in this HTML series. The title of the video is Your First Step in Developing a HTML Website Page. That video shall be a form of foundation and guide to you to enable you see through this HTML series. And now back to the topic of the day, HTML forms. HTML forms, I will simply say that they have interactive elements that helps you to input data or to interact with your web page. And now these interactive elements can be input fields, they can be radio buttons, they can be check boxes, they can be buttons, they can also be text areas. And so we shall quickly return to our root folder. You can see it right here on my desktop titled My Website. Now this root folder was created in the first video of this HTML series, and so I will quickly open this root folder, my website. I double click on it, and here I have my 5 folders and my 4 files, my 4 HTML files, and then the index file is my home page. So I would open it twice. At first I will open it with Google Chrome or another browser, or Microsoft Edge. I will open with Google Chrome. Wow, and that was the things that we have done so far. So I will minimize it, and then again I right click and open with Notepad. So I open with Notepad, and here are the things that we have done so far. As you can see, the last activity that we did is the image element. And so we quickly continue with our class. I would scroll down because I want to open a HTML form element. And right here on the screen, you can see how the HTML form element looks like. First of all, you will see the opening and the close tag form, the form opening tag at the top, and at the bottom you will see the form closing tag, and right there you will see the next element or the next tag, which is the field set. And you will see that the label for this field set is contact information. That's the legend. The legend for this field set is contact information. Sorry, I wish to say legend, not label. And then you would also notice that we can have so many field sets, just like we have the contact information field set. We can also have the personal information field set, and also we can have the academic qualifications field set. So these are the several field sets we can have in the HTML form. And so we quickly open the form tag. As we have seen, I quickly open the form tag FORM. That's the opening tag, the opening of the form element. So I would scroll down a little and then I close the form tag FORM. So here is the opening form tag and here is the closing form tag. And so I will declare my field set FIELDSET, the opening tag of the field set, and then I will close the field set FIELDSET. And now right inside the field set, I will nest the legend LEGEND, the open tag of the legend. I will close it at the same line LEGEND. And so just as we have seen on the screen, this is what we have done so far on form. And now under this place, I will type my label tag LABEL, label, and then I quickly close my label tag, and I also type my input tag. My input tag is an empty tag. In other words, it does not have a closing tag. So once I have something like this, I can begin to duplicate it. So I have something like this. This is the opening form tag, and this is the closing form tag, and I have my opening field set tag and my closing field set tag. So here I have the legend opening and close tag nested inside field set. Here also I have my label tags opening and close tag, and right under the label I have my input tag. So I can quickly create 4 field sets. I want to create 4 field sets, but I can name this. Okay, I can copy this field set. This is a complete field set. I can copy it, Ctrl C, and then right below it I can paste. So I now have my second field set. So I can repeat it. I now have my third field set, and now I have my fourth field set. And now I can begin to add names to my field set. So I decide to call this first field set personal information. This is the personal information field set. I put it right inside the legend. So in the second legend, that's the name of the field set, I'll simply type contact details or contact information, whichever way you like. Now in the third field set, right inside the legend, I can quickly type academic qualifications I would prefer to change it to course details, course details, and then the last but not the least, the last field set, I can decide to call it login, Login. And so I'll click file, I'll save, and then head to my browser, and then I'll refresh. So when I refresh, I will scroll down, I would see the personal information, the contact details, the course details, and the login. So right now we have a skeleton of the form that we must achieve that. And so we continue with our coding. Now under the personal information field set, we start with the first label. So this label is our label for, so I will say label for first name. So will call it F name, or whatever I like. I can call it FN, but I choose to call it F name. So this is label for F name. So right in this place, I will type first name. So the user is expected to give me his first name. And right now in the input field, I will give a space and then type the type of this input field is text, T-E-X-T. So the user is expected to type in the text, and then the ID has to tally with this 4, whatever the value of this 4. The value of this 4 is F name, so the ID is also supposed to have F name here. And now there is another attribute called name. So I can equally give F name to name. And so I will save my work so I can test what I have just done. File, save. I head to my browser and I refresh. So right now you can see first name, and then you can see the input field, which I am supposed to type a text. I can type Francis if I want, Francis if I want. So I just coded my first input. So I quickly head back to my notepad. I can add a placeholder. Once I finish coding the placeholder, you would understand what I just did. You must have been seeing it in so many websites. So placeholder equal to, okay, I can type EG JOHN. That's example John. So I click file, I save my work, head back to my browser, and then I refresh. So you would see that right inside the first name, I just got a placeholder, example John. So when I click inside the placeholder, example John will still be there until I start typing. So I can type Francis. At the moment I start typing Francis, example John will disappear. So once I delete it, example John will reappear. So that's what is called a placeholder. That is how a placeholder is. And so I will quickly replicate these for middle name, for surname, for age, for your institution. So I head back to my notepad, and this time around I will have to copy and paste. So I would copy the first these two rows, the input field and then the label tag. So I will copy file. Okay, I will copy, Control C. I do that again. I will copy, Control C, and then right under it I will paste. Then again, that's for middle name, that's for surname, that's for the next four. So right now I'll begin to edit them. This is for first name. Now this should be for middle name, M name. So then I will change first to middle name. So because the 4 is M name, therefore the ID will also be M name, and it's always preferable to give the same name to all of them. Right now, example, I can type Ebuka as the placeholder of the middle name. And now the surname, S name. Now the input, the type is text. The ID, I will also change to S name. The name, I will also change to S name. Now the placeholder for the S name, I can write Kings. So, and so this is first name, middle name, and so this should be surname, Surname. And so we remove first name here and put age. So this can be still the same age. So the type, this input type will now be number, NUMBER. ID should tally with this. So I will also type age in ID and name also age. But right here, I will remove the placeholder and type mean. Mean is equals to 18, and max for maximum age, mean for minimum age, while max is for maximum age, 50. And so the minimum age that can apply is 18 years, while the maximum age is 50 years. And so we go to the fifth label and input your institution. Your institution. So I can use inst representing institution. You can choose whatever you like that tallies or rhymes with it. Now the input type is also text. The ID has to tally with 4. So this is inst. So inst has to be here the same. For name, it should be inst. And then I can decide to put placeholder equal to, or I can use Unizik. And now I can repeat the same for this one, your institution, Control C. I have a reason for replicating your institution up to 3 times. So inst, I can equally type inst, type is text, id, inst, name, I will change it to inst, and then I can decide to remove the placeholder. Now I replicate the same finally for the last label, your institution. Remember I said I have a reason for doing that. I will explain. And now label for inst, type is text, id inst, just the same, inst, and then I can remove the placeholder. So I will quickly click on File, Save. So I will refresh my browser to see what I have done so far. So right now I have first name, example John, middle name, example Ibuka, surname, example Kings, age, I have minimum of 18, and then I have a maximum of 50. Now I will go back to my browser and add break lines so it can be arranged vertically. BR, that's immediately after the input field, I add line breakers. BR, BR, BR. I also add BR, and I also add BR. So I click File and Save. I refresh, and now the forms are now listed horizontally. So you will notice that the first name, example John, I can change it to Francis. Middle name, example Ebuka, I can change it to Kosi, Kosi. Now the surname is Kings, I can change it to Woods. So age, I can choose 25, and then your institution is Unizik. I can change it to COOU. Institution, you can see there are no placeholders here, and there is no placeholder here. And so I can add a value to this. Remember, I was the one that typed COOU. I can type Unizik as a value if I want. Now I can decide to do a read only on this. I can decide to disable this. So I quickly head to my notepad. So I can replace this placeholder as a value, VALUE, and then I save. File, save. So when I refresh, you will notice that Unizik is no longer as a placeholder. Rather, it is like a value. Automatically, the browser entered Unizik for you, because maybe the people that are filling this form are all Unizik students. So it doesn't want you wasting your time typing the name of your school. It already types it for you. You can see that you can delete it. You can delete any of the numbers. So it is now a value and no longer a placeholder. So I can quickly go back to my notepad. Then I will add value again. Value equal to Unizik. But this time I would make it a read only. read only, readonly. I will make it a read only so that the name Unizik will appear there and you cannot be able to delete it. So I click File and I click Save. Head back to my browser, refresh. And so you will notice that this Unizik is here. I can delete it, I can type it back. But the second Unizik, you can only highlight it, but you cannot delete it. You can't delete it. You can see I'm trying my best to delete it, but I can't delete it because it is read only. The value is Unizik, but it is read only. So my aim is to make this last one, to disable this last one. You can see it is enabled. I can type something on it, but when I disable it, I will not be able to type on it again. So I quickly go back to my browser, to my notepad. This is the last one, your institution. So let me call this your institution 1. Let me call this your institution 2. And let me call this your institution 3. So I enter into your institution 3 and then I type disabled. Then I click File and then I save. Head back to my browser, refresh. So once you will notice that I can't even type anything inside this your institution 3. You can't even type anything in it. Then in Unizik 2, it has a value, but you cannot also type, you cannot delete. But in Unizik 1 has a value which you can manipulate. So these are the differences. In this, it has a value, but it is readable. It can be editable. The second Unizik, your institution 2 has a value, but is a read-only value. You can only read the value, you cannot write on it. Now, your institution 3 is entirely disabled. You cannot type anything on it. And so, for the contact details, it should contain the phone number, the email address, and the street address. So I quickly head back to my notepad and then I go back to the second field set. You can see the contact details. You can see the first label and the input. So I copy the first label, Ctrl C, and I paste under. I also paste. So I have 3 labels for contact details. The first label will be for phone number. The second label will be for email address. The third will be for postal address or for street address. So for this label, I'll write phone, PHONE. For this label, I will write email, EMAIL, and for the third, I will write address, ADDRESS. So for the label, I'll write for equal to phone, PHONE. So for the second label of email, for email, for, okay, EMAIL. Now the label for address, for equal to, I can write ADDR for the address. And so I had input type for phone is text. And so ID will also be phone, PHONE. Let me write phone number here as the label name. So now after ID equal to phone, we also have name is equals to phone. So I wouldn't want to place a placeholder, but I would like to put a pattern. A pattern. The pattern helps us to adhere to strict rules of writing the phone number. So I will copy and paste, Control V. So that's the pattern. I would like you to zoom it and then simply replicate it. And so for email, because I have for email, okay, the type for email is not text, is not number, it is email. Email has a peculiar type, so the ID will also be email. The name will also be email. And so I can put a placeholder for email. I can place a placeholder, example XYZ at gbox.com. So that's my placeholder for email. And so for address, is already there. So this is not an input, it's a text area. TEXTAREA. So this is very special. I would like you to pay attention. I will close the text area tag. Text area. So you will see the difference between input and text area. Input does not have a closing tag. You can't see any closing tag of input here. But text area has both opening and closing tags. Text area has an opening tag and it also has a closing tag. So right inside the opening tag, I put my ID. ID equals to ADDR. I can also put name equal to ADDR. So I can put the rows. How many rows do I want it to be? Can put 30. Now, okay, I can put 5 or 5. 5 should be enough. And then how many columns should I want my text area to be? I can put 30. And so I just added the contact details field set. And then this is the label for phone, email, and address. So I would like you to properly study this for you to be able to replicate it. And then I click File, I click Save, head back to my browser, and refresh. And so I can see that they are all listed on the same line. So because we are still working with HTML and not CSS, I can add a break line so it can be arranged vertically. Remember, this is a HTML class and not a CSS class. So we are using HTML tags or HTML commands. So I click File and I click Save. Head back to my browser and I refresh. So when I refresh, you will see that I have phone number. I can enter my phone number. I have an email. I can enter your email. And then I have an address, number 23 Kings Avenue, Lagos, Nigeria. Full stop. And now you can see the field set of the contact details. You can see the field set of the personal information. And now we have two more field sets to go we have the course details field set, and we have the login field set. And so I will head back to my notepad, and now this is the field set for course details. And so I will rather change course details to choose course. Choose course. I think it's preferable considering what we are designing. So the label should be for equal to, I will decide to add course for course. Now, because we want to create a drop down menu, where you click and then it will drop down. So it is called a select option menu. A select option menu. And now it is not an input field. So I will have to change this. I'll have to delete this input. I'll delete it. And then I will open a select tag. Select tag. And then close the select tag immediately. Close the select tag. And then because we are selecting from different options, we nest options inside select. So you can see how I open option tag, and right now I am closing the option tag. So I can copy and paste, Control V, Control V. I want to have just 5 options. So you can see right inside this choose course field set, right inside this field set that I just highlighted, choose course, you can see that we have the label for course. But now instead of having input, we now have select option. You can see how I nested the select option. You can pause this video and study it. Select the opening tag of select, the closing tag of select, and then the 5 options opening and close tags respectively. So the first option, let's choose the first option as web design. Web design. Let's choose the second option as SPSS. Let's choose the third option as Java. Let's choose the fourth option as Python. And now let's choose the fifth option as networking. That's just my choice. And now because I have for course, I will ensure that right inside the opening tag of select, I will add my attributes. The first attribute is ID as usual. I will make sure that ID is also course. And then I will also add name. I will make sure that name is also course. So I save my file, save my work, Control S or file and save. And then I head back to my browser and refresh. So once I refresh, you would see that I have choose course. Now I have 5 options: web design, SPSS, Java, Python, and networking. But I will notice that it automatically selected the first. I may decide to leave it like this, but I don't think that's a good practice. So I will head back to my browser, to my notepad, and then I will add another option, and I'll make it the first option. Now that option, I will call it select. I want you to study what I just did. And now in the label, I can call my label select a course. So as you can see, I just added a sixth option, but I ensured it is the first option where I have select. So I click File, I save, head back to my browser, and I refresh. So you would see the label select a course, and then you will see the first option. The first option says hyphen hyphen select hyphen hyphen. So it helps you to know that this is a drop down menu where you click and then you see the first option, which is not of it doesn't have a database need. It's not recorded in our database. So, but we have web design, SPSS, Java, Python, and networking that are coded in the database. And so, all right, for the login field set, which is actually our last field set for this video, I'll quickly head to my notepad, and now I'll scroll down a little so I can see it in full. So this is the field set for the login. I just highlighted it. So the legend is already login. I can put a semicolon if I want. So label for legend for login. So the first label we'll have two labels. Okay, we'll have four labels. Control C. So I will paste up to 4 times. Okay, up to 3 times to make it 4. And so the first label is username. Username semicolon. I can remove semicolon from login. Then the second label, password. I can add a colon, yes. And then the third one should be maybe retype password. Then with a colon, and so I will delete this for the last one because that is a special type of label. So I will come here, label 4. I would use okay, username, I would use user. I think user is a good match. Input, type, username is usually a text, T-E-X-T, ID. So the ID should be user, so it will rhyme with 4. So the name is also user, but then I wouldn't want the username to exceed 20 characters. So I would type max length, the maximum length, that's max length equal to 20. I can decide to put a placeholder to indicate not more. Okay, I'll write 20 words inside the placeholder max, 20 words max, so that the person filling the form will see the placeholder that it shouldn't exceed 20 words inside the placeholder, and then the max length 20 is to enforce it, to ensure that the username does not exceed 20 words. And so I click File, Save, head back to my browser, and then I refresh. So you would see username 20 words maximum. Then you will see password, you will see retype password. And so I will quickly go to my notepad for the password. So the label is 4 equal to, I will choose pass, P-A-S-S, so that of course, the type should be text, T-E-X-T. So sorry, the type should be password, S-S-W-O-R-D. Okay, I will equally make the for password. Then the ID will equal to be password, the name equal to password, and then I would add an attribute called required. Adding the required attribute ensures that the user must fill in this particular input field is 100% required. So I can decide to copy the password, can also replicate it here because we are also talking about password and retype password. So I can also add for equal to password. And so I click File and I save. So when I save, I can also add line breakers just to make each of the labels appear on a separate line to arrange them vertically. And appear break lines, line breakers. I click File, I click Save, head to my browser, and then I refresh. So when I refresh, you will notice that I have my login field set, have my username, my password, my retype password, and then it is remaining a submit button or an apply button. Just it remains a submit button. So that's my notepad. I'll quickly open the button tab, the button tag, TTON, and then I quickly close the button tag. And in between the opening and the closing button tag, I type apply or register or submit or whatever you like. I choose to type apply. And so right inside the opening tag of the button, I will type equal to button. Then I will also type rule equal to button. So on click, ONCLICK, you will notice that the C has a capital letter. On click equal to alert, ALERT, and then I open and close a bracket. Okay, single quotes, submitted, hopefully with an exclamation mark, and then I click file, I click save. But before I refresh, I would like you to notice this is the field set, the entire field set, and this is the login legend. That's the name of the field set, that's the legend. And then we have the first input field, the second input field, which is password, the third input field, which is retype password, and then we have the button. We have the button. That's the opening tag of the button, and then the closing tag of the button. But right inside the opening tag, we have the type equal to button, we have the role equal to button, we have the on click to alert submitted. So I will quickly click on file, and then I will click save, head back to my browser, and then I will refresh. So as you can see, we have the apply button right down here. Now have it's possible for us to format this. It's possible for us to make this apply to be longer, to make it higher. We can resize it, we can resize these things, we can add padding, we can add margins, but that is not the scope of this study, because we wouldn't like to do that in HTML. We would like to do that with CSS. So once I click apply, you will notice this page says, you can see the submitted. So I click OK. Once you click apply again, I'll do that again, and then you will see submitted. I'll click OK. And so in this video, we have learned HTML forms, and then we created 4 field sets, starting from the personal information field set, and then the contact details field set, the choose course field set, and finally the login field set. And then we learned about the legend, which is personal information, the contact details, these are the legends. Legends are the names of the field set. And then we learned about the labels. These are the individual labels, the surname, the age, your institution 1, your institution 2, phone number, email. And then we also learned that this is a text input type, this is a text input type, this is a text input type, this is a text. These are all text, but this is a text area input type. This is a select option input type, and now this is a text input type, text input type, text input type, and then submit input type. But then you would notice that the personal information is lacking an information. Is lacking an information. We have not imputed gender. Gender has to do with male, female, and other. So we are going to do that with radio buttons. And so we quickly head back into our notepad. That's our notepad. We'll scroll up into the first field set, whose legend is personal information. So right after age, I will simply do that right after age. So I'll label opening tag, and then I close the label tag, and then right under it, input, I close the input, type equal to radio. It's going to be a radio button. So the ID equal to gender. Okay, I'll remove one quotation. Name equal to gender value equal to male. And so that's 4 equal to gender, and right inside the label type gender. So I can add a line breaker, and so I can equally add a line breaker here, but for the first one I can type male. So male, and the radio button, this is an entire radio button, and so I can replicate it for female, Control V for female, and then for other. So we have, for female we have type equal to radio, ID gender, name gender, value equal to female, then value for other equal to other. And so I can remove the break lines because I want them to be on a straight line. I want them to be on a straight line, on a horizontal line. So I now have gender, male, female, other on a straight line, on a straight horizontal line. So I click file, I click save, and then I head to my browser and I refresh. And the moment I refresh, I will notice that I have gender, male, female, other. Oh, your institution, I have to put a break line to take your institution down. BR, that's after other. And now I will head back and refresh. Oh, I didn't save. File and save. And then I refresh. So I have gender. Oh, I can equally allow all of them to be on the straight line. So gender, after gender, I would have to remove the break line, click file, click save, refresh. So I now have gender, male, female, other. Okay, it doesn't seem to look the way I like, so I can decide to take this male, Control X. I'll take the male and transfer it over to this side. The same thing for the female, while I delete it from this side, and then I delete other from this side, and then transfer it to this side. So I click file, I click save, return to my browser, and I refresh. So I will notice that gender, male, female, or other, you will notice that I can click one at a time. I can choose more than one at a time. And then I will quickly add checkbox. Checkbox, that will be the final one we are going to add. And so I'll quickly do that for checkbox. I'll quickly do that for checkbox. So label. Okay, let me do that for academic qualifications, because one can have more than one academic qualification at a time, and that is the essence of using checkbox. So I will do that under the choose course field set. So I will do that under under right here. Okay, I'll do a label, and then I'll close the label tag. I'll close the label tag, and then I'll do my input tag, which does not have a closing tag. And right inside my input tag, I will type equal to check, check, id equal to, I'll use checkbox. I'll use maybe checkbox 1, name equal to checkbox 1, value equal to bachelors, and then at the end I will type bachelors, and then I can do a copy and paste in order to save our time. And so for the next bachelors, for the next is PGD, that's postgraduate diploma. Okay, I will call this BSc for bachelors, and then I will call this MSc for masters, and then I will call this PhD for doctorate. So the value of this is PhD, the value of this is MSc, the value of this is PGD, the value of this is BSc, and this is checkbox 1. This will be checkbox 2, checkbox 2, 3, and then checkbox 4. Also the same thing here, checkbox 2, checkbox 3, and checkbox 4. And so this is the first label. This is the first label for checkbox 1. Okay, I will transfer this right inside the label where it's supposed to be. So I will copy this, Control C, and then paste it accordingly. This is for the second option, PGD, which I will remove from this place, the MSc and the PhD, and then I'll also do the same for MSc, and finally for PhD. So I can separate them with lines so that it can be clean and easy to identify. This is my label for checkbox 1, my label for checkbox 2, my label for, alright, label for checkbox 2, my label for checkbox 3, and my label for checkbox 4. And now I have the ID and the name checkbox 4 for PhD, for checkbox 3 MSc, for checkbox 2 PGD, for checkbox 1 BSc. And so I'll quickly save my work, file and save, head back to my browser, and then I refresh. So as you can see, it has not actually given us what we wanted. We wanted it to be a checkbox. So I check my code. I must have made a mistake. So I check my code, right? Oh, this is supposed to be type equal to checkbox and not check. So I will type checkbox. I'll complete it box checkbox box checkbox box checkbox box, and then I click file, I click save, head to my browser, and then refresh. So you can see I now have select course, I have BSc, I can select all of them. For example, I have bachelor's, I have bachelor's in science, I have PGD, I have MSc, I have PhD. So you can see that checkbox is different from radio button. Radio button, you can only select either you're male, either you're a female, either you're other. But in checkbox, you can select more than one. So I would like the checkbox to be, I would like to put a line breaker here. And so I put a line breaker immediately after the select option, so that the checkboxes will move below. So I click file, I refresh. So once I refresh, you would see that they have just gone below the select option tag. And so I can equally add a paragraph right on top of this. Can equally put a paragraph, academic qualifications. Academic qualifications, and then I close the paragraph tag. I can say your academic qualifications. I click file, I click save, head back to my browser, and then I refresh. So your academic qualifications, you select between these four or possibly the four of them. And so finally, we would add a method. This is our opening form tag. This is the open tag of our form element. So we can come into the opening tag and add method, method equal to post, just for sending our form into the database. Write in capital letters, method equal to post. I click file, I click save. Sorry, P, capital P, small 0 st. So I click file, I click save. So right in this video, we have done a whole lot of things. We started from we have 4 field sets: the personal information field set, the contact details field set, the choose course field set, and then the login field set. We have talked about the text field, the radio buttons, the values, the placeholders, the disabled, and the read-only. We have also talked about the email type, the text area, the select options, the checkbox, and finally, we've talked about the on-click, that's the button tags. So in this video, we have done so much about HTML form, and I would implore you to click subscribe for the next video that is coming. Thank you so much. I am Reverend Dr. Namches. Goodbye.